evening, guys. Welcome to another episode of Real Life Sherlock Reacts. My name is Ben Cardall, and if it's the first time to your channel, a little bit about myself. I am author of the best-selling book, The Monographs, which details the reality of using Sherlock Holmes' skill set in the 21st century today, how to train it, the information to learn, and how to go about developing those attributes within your own particular lives and livelihood. It's taken me across the globe teaching and working for all manner of people, even on the BBC Sherlock convention circuit as the quote-unquote real-life Sherlock as well. So if that's something that you enjoy hearing about, talking about, discussing, because primarily here that's exactly what happens. We explore these methods and how to make them work for yourself. I do performances, challenges, tests, explanations like this video as well. So if that's something that you enjoy, maybe think about subscribing to the channel. You know, what's it gonna hurt? It's free and it doesn't cost you anything. So we are continuing on down our Netflix miniseries journey at the minute with one of the worst people on the planet, Jeffrey Epstein. I think the documentary itself is called Filthy Rich. I've not watched the full documentary yet myself. This is just from the opening episode. It's the first 2 minutes. It's an interview with him. And this one, more than anything, provides a very particular challenge for people who are engaged to read the body language, the tells, the cues, as it were, of somebody like this, because you have to look at what you are being shown through a non-emotional lens. And given the crimes that I'm not even sure the story that he's committed, he's alleged to have been committed. I've done no research on the guy other than what pops up on my iPhone news app. That's all I really know about him. Other than what's been confirmed, which is why I can confidently say he's one of the worst people that ever lived, in my opinion. Being a father of two as well, it's particularly sharp, but that's an interesting challenge for those of you developing this skill within yourself, to quiet that voice inside of your head, to allow you to read somebody like this and the tells that they give away in order to get to the truth of the matter, what it is that they're saying to you and what it is that they're not saying to you, in order to provide a well-rounded profile. Okay, so yeah, the adage, as it goes with the React stuff, is it's basically me and the video, and I tell you my thoughts, more so with these clips from real life, not from the film and TV, because we break that down too. You can check out some of the other videos as well that we've done before, some of the more popular ones, where we break down stuff from The Mentalist and Lie to Me and Sherlock itself and Jack Reacher and the like, just to see how those techniques can be applied to the real world. What I'm saying in a very roundabout way is that we have a low degree of evidence because we're watching a Netflix documentary. We're not involved in the investigation, and there's only so much that we, the ignorant public, are allowed to know, in my opinion, right? So my thoughts are solely on this video and what it shows to us. It's only a couple of minutes long, so we'll see what we can see. And with that in mind, here we go. Neighbours making noise.
raise your hand, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth?
Look at that already. Already. We've got the stand to attention. When this comes up, sharp, deep breath. Okay, that's already an anxious, controlled moment within him, right? We do this when we are trying to keep that sort of normalized approach towards the conversations that we have to have. It's what I refer to as the swan metaphor when you look at lie detection. On the surface, they appear to be all serene and beautiful, but underneath their legs are going like this. Same can be said of this particular scenario. That's a leak in terms of trying to control our own internals so that our externals remain alongside the party line. And if you're wondering what that noise is as well, my puppy is currently chewing her own feet. So that's what that is. Do you want to knock that off, please? Knock it off. Okay, here we go. That smile as well. Knock it off. That smile as well is not a real one. You can see the only action that would appear in the crow's feet is a matter of his skin, the loss of collagen, right? When we smile anyway, when our cheeks come up, like I'm not smiling, but there's still action there because I'm getting on a bit now, and the collagen in my skin starts to wear out. That's what can make the differentiation between the reading of Duchenne smiles and fake smiles quite hard.
Nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
That was gross of him to show us. Now, if you look at the way that dissipates, you've got the smile,
Nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
the wink, and then it vanishes. Right? That's got a relationship towards what would be called contempt. If you've ever followed any of the studies of emotional displays, there's more than enough text on the topic. But what that relates to, if you don't know, is that feeling of superiority, like I'm better than you, right? It's the leak on the asymmetrical side of the smile, which gives the impression of the wink, and then it vanishes. Okay, so I'm better than you to business, right? This guy's got another worldly sized ego, but it's still under complete control. You can see from the hand washing type of material. Okay, this is what you see in political displays. It's how they're taught to control their hands so it doesn't leak any gestural tells for people like me and people like you guys who are obviously interested in the video for us to pull apart, right? So he's controlling his behavior. You see that when we got that first point, we got a leak in the breath, we got a leak in the face, we got a leak in his state, so we know his mind. We know his mind, we know his patterns. We can better understand him, better read him, better profile him, whatever word that you want to use. There. So let's watch that bit right from the start, because there's a lot to go through in a very short space of time.
Would you raise your hand, please?
Deep breath.
Swear the testimony
Control.
you're about to give in the matter now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and
Smile,
nothing but the truth?
contempt on the one side, vanished. To
Please
business.
state your full name
And just there, right at the end, as I was still talking,
The whole truth and nothing but the truth.
you got a lip lick and a big deep breath.
Yes, ma'am. Would you please state?
Wet the lips. They call it a lip lick display when the ladies do it with this type of behaviour. You can do the same thing when you rub your lips together as well. Get some moisture there, because the sharp intake of breath from the controlling the amount of fear that you're experiencing dries out the lips, dries out the tongue, dries out the throat, and he wants to appear natural. That's why he's got this controlled display, leaning forward just slightly. But again, you can tell from this type of controlled dynamic in terms of how he moves and how he twists. His legs are locked together, one ankle around the other, which again is another form of control, which when your feet are apart like mine are now, you get more scope of movement because there's more freedom to go, right? Everything's connected, so you can still read the behavior even if you can't see the limbs. So when the feet are locked, you try it yourself. There's not as much room, and you see when he turns at the start, he doesn't turn all the way to face them because we can still see this back part of the face. Feet are locked.
Your full name?
I'm Jeffrey Edward Epstein, and my residence address is 6100 Red Hook Boulevard in Virgin Islands.
If you watch the way his watch moves as well, you can see that he's still anxious, okay? The leak of emotion wants to come out, so you can see the control that would be right hand is having to go through to keep it there. Lets out in the thumb as well, like lifting the lid on a kettle boiling, letting out some steam.
Do you maintain any other residences presently?
Big deep breath.
I have vacation homes in New Mexico, Palm Beach, New York, and Paris.
Ooh. Now, we've looked at the behavior, and I definitely struggle with saying it. We looked at the behavior of eyelids in the Carol Baskin video. Same could be said here, right? If we're thinking about the eyelids as a pulse relating to how anxious we feel, okay? You see it in the shutter speed if it starts to move quicker, but here we see general flutters of activity, of heightened anxiety that's felt, right? You see it on particular houses. So let's go through this again. I don't know how far back I've got.
I'm Jeffrey Edward Epstein, and my residence address is 6100 Red Hook Boulevard in Virgin Islands.
Do you maintain
Control.
any other residences
Lick again.
presently?
I have vacation homes in New Mexico, Palm Beach, New York, and Paris.
New York and Paris. New Mexico and Paris. They are the ones that provide a heightened level of anxiety here.
In Virgin Islands.
Do you maintain
So there again, the kettle's letting off a bit more steam. We've got that uncontrolled shoulder display. Another roll of the lips together to get some more moisture there.
any other residences presently?
Deep breath.
I have vacation homes in New Mexico.
Boom. One more time.
Presently.
I have vacation homes in New Mexico.
New Mexico. Right, something happened in New Mexico.
Palm Beach, New York, and Paris.
Palm Beach, New York, and Paris. It's very clearly defined points of anxiety that this guy feels about those particular locations. If I were part of this investigation, I'd be encouraging people, check out these particular homes. I mean, check them all out, obviously, but these two in particular, this will be where there's some big secrets hide. And already you can see from where I've frozen this here that his display's changed slightly. Okay, he's slightly more back in the chair than he was before.
Have you?
Just to point out, I didn't qualify that. When you perform that kind of retreating behaviour, there's a lack of compliance in terms of what's about to happen with whatever it is. So if you're discussing a deal that you want to make as a businessman, and all of a sudden they've gone from leaning forward to leaning back, it's a bad sign. You see it a lot with poker players as well, who take their hands off the table.
Ever been convicted of a crime?
Yes.
What was the crime of which you were convicted?
Two counts. One.
I believe that's a heightened degree of stuttering right there. Almost leaks out a different number.
The crime of which you were convicted?
Two counts. One, soliciting prostitution.
one, soliciting prostitution, and then he'll probably go on to say one of whatever else he was convicted of doing. Now, in this type of sort of informational slip, we look at the parapraxis, the Freudian slip, which can be a link to information that we don't want to give, but it can also just be a nervous disposition, almost, right? So he could have put together both counts that he was convicted on. That's why we got the two first. Or it could be that there was one count of soliciting prostitution he wasn't convicted for. Right? That's something that type of stuttering with the Freudian slip kind of behaviour would leak out. Right? You see it in people that accidentally say things like sex when they want to say the number 6. It could be that they were thinking about sex at that particular time. It could be that they are just particularly nervous public speakers, right? There's no way to confidently say one way or the other than it's a display of anxiety.
And procuring a minor for prostitution.
Okay, so he didn't say one afterwards. That's the natural conversational flow element, right? If you what's the closest element? Like when you look at young people that go to parties, how many drinks have you had? Oh, I've had 3. I had 2 of this and 1 of this. We evenly qualify every part of the truism. He didn't here, right? So to me, that would fall under the matter of exclusions, which would give more credence to the truth of a Freudian slip. So maybe there was 2 counts of soliciting prostitution.
And procuring a minor for prostitution.
There's a lip compression, which is usually it's believed to be an insight into withheld opinions, but it's seen in isolation. So what it can be linked to when you look at his nostril displays is guilt. Is the closest likeness. Guilt as an umbrella term, okay? Because clearly he's in a formal sitting, so to admit something like that, you're going to show those types of displays.
Did you in fact commit those acts?
I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment right.
Deep breath in as if to answer. Lawyer rang in his head. Lawyer. I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment right. So let's watch that again.
Did you in fact commit those acts?
I'm going to invoke my Fifth.
Head comes up as if he's about to speak. Eyes start pinballing from side to side. We've had a momentary influx of information. I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment right, okay? Almost let it slip there. You see it in people that, did you do this? No, I didn't do that. The slightest acquiesce, the slightest confirmation, and no, it's like a gestural Freudian slip. Our body conveys the true information. That's what you get from incongruence, lie detection. It's all about incongruence and leakage, because it didn't truly happen. That's why pulling apart stories like Carol Baskin's would have been difficult to do, because she's told that story so often and so many times that she gets to believe it. She's given an emotional state to it. She can pull it. That's why she says the same words over and over again as part of the story. He very nearly let that slip there.
Did you in fact commit those acts?
I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment right.
How many times have...
Fifth Amendment right, back in the chair. And even in, like, he's got very thin lips anyway, but even in that expression, when somebody purses their lips like that, that's a controlled display to stop yourself from speaking. We're providing an element of tension to stop these working, stop them leaking. like we used to do with my tripod's just run out of juice. Wait there, I'll grab my other one. And we're back. Okay, so sorry about that, guys. Technical problems ensued, were overcome. But yeah, like we do when, I don't know if it happened around the world, but particularly in England, when you go to primary school and you're being too talkative and too chatty, your teachers tell you to do this. Put your fingers on your lips to stop your lips from moving. So that's the exact same display that this guy's doing here. He's stopping himself from speaking.
You solicited a minor for prostitution.
Let's try a predictive right. He's going to invoke his fifth again, because you've got that same display, the same eyebrows up, the same slight head tilt, the same head raise. Sorry, as he's about to speak, moving forwards. Who knew filmmaking could be so fun, right? So yeah, we've got a slight camera change at the minute because I've not practiced with this setup. I've just set it up now because I didn't want to break the rent. So yeah, this guy's about to he's about to plead the fifth again. You got the same expression, the same head tilt up, the same eyebrow position, the same slight parting of the lips.
Same answer.
How many times have you solicited a minor for prostitution in the state?
Look at that display. Right. There. How many times? That'd be a lot. A lot of times. That's somebody who he's going to plead the fifth again. I'll tell you that for free. Put your money away. I'll tell you that, right? So that's an expression that's caused him a great deal of anxiety. You've got the eye-blocking behaviour, the pursed lips that you would see traditionally in somebody that's experienced some low-key pain. The gritted teeth that are behind that kind of expression.
Prostitution in the state of Florida.
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited a minor for prostitution in the Virgin Islands?
Same answer.
That is it.
Come on, man. Plead the fifth. Fair enough, right? You've got the right to do that, but to stick with it with that level of vehemence, based upon the information that you've previously given, and the awareness that you've caught yourself in of almost letting something slip to slam down the doors on everything from that standpoint. This guy's got a lot to say that he's specifically trying to not say.
You are invoking your Fifth Amendment.
Yes,
right?
Yes, Mr. Scroll.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in New York?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution?
After each one, lip compression to add moisture to the lips, pre-swallow behavior.
In New Mexico?
Very anxious.
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in Paris?
Pain.
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited a minor for prostitution anywhere at any time?
Again, I'm going to assert my right.
So you look at that then, when they start to talk about the homes, you can combine that with what we saw earlier in the eyebrow flutter.
Yes, Mr.
Eyelid flutter.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in New York?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in New Mexico?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in Paris?
1, 2.
Same answer.
1, 2.
Have you ever solicited a minor for prostitution anywhere at any time?
Again, I'm going to assert my right.
Did you ever? We're going to go off the record. So you are terminating the deposition at this time? Recessing the deposition.
You are terminating the deposition at this time? No, we're recessing the deposition at this time so he can come back and then plead the fifth some more. Unless you, based upon, and again, I've not seen this, but based upon following that same train of logic throughout, this would be, he would start talking when it's elements that he feels more comfortable about. In the same way that you see politicians only talk to particular news outlets that ask them the right questions. Otherwise, when the questions come in, they'll talk about their same narrative that they need to get out, right? The same can be said here. So, yeah, a lot of stuff going on in Mr. Epstein's face, but what we learn here is how even though you can try and control your displays, it's still leaking out in your posture, it's still leaking out in the level of control you're going through, it's still leaking out in your hand washing, your eyelids. I don't know why I struggle with that so much. Your lips, the expressions on your face, how much control, how much fidgeting you're doing, how much verbal leakage you're giving out, even from a guy that's as conscious as he is of giving away information that eventually led to his incarceration. It's still there to be seen. You just need to examine it properly, right? Context is key to everything. Awesome. Thank you for sticking with me through that, guys, and I apologize for the technical difficulties through the middle of that. If you've watched some of my other Reacts videos and some of my other vlogs, like the situational awareness on memorizing license plates, you'll know that I'm learning about this filmmaking as we go through YouTube tutorials and the like. So yeah, I can only apologize for that bit in the middle if that broke your concentration. The information should still be there for you to take away. But if you enjoyed the video, please do give it a like, and as I say, subscribe to the channel. You know, it's free, doesn't cost anything, and it would make a hairy guy very happy if you did. So thank you very much. Don't be strangers. Let me know some of your thoughts on what you saw down in the comments. Any agreements, disagreements. As we say, reading people is a soft science. If it were an exact science, we'd all come to the same answer based upon the same criteria of the equations, right? So yeah, hope you all have a wonderful day. Hope you're all keeping safe out there and everyone's well. Hopefully your lives are getting back to normal at this point, with measures easing around the world. Make smart decisions for those around you, and I'll talk to you soon.